It's the 15th of September and I know I haven't seen you for a little while, and all I've really been doing is digging up the rest of the potatoes and just doing a load of weeding. So there's been no point me showing you those because weeding's quite boring, to be honest with you, and I've already shown you how to dig up the potatoes. So they're now all done, but I've come across the Globe Artichokes. Now, I sowed these from seed quite a few years ago and they grew beautifully, and I put them out into the allotment. If you do grow Globe Artichokes, then you need to make sure that you give them a bed of their own, because they're perennials and then they will keep coming up year after year after year, and they will gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger. So make sure that you give them a decent amount of space. There's a little spider there. He's trying to steal the show. Let's move him. Now, at the end of the season, the stems that have produced an artichoke this year, if you haven't managed to harvest your artichokes, you'll get these beautiful purple flowers which the bees love, and then once the bees have had their fun with those, then they go brown. And then they need taking off, but don't take them off straight away. Wait for the whole stem to go brown and then remove that, and you will find that new leaves for the new growth for the next year are already starting to come through. They won't completely disappear over winter. Well, not in the UK, they tend not to. There'll always be some green leaves there. They're really quite hardy plants. So let me show you what mine look like and how to get rid of the brown stems. Now, as you can see, up here are the old flowers and they've gone completely brown, and if you just follow the stems all the way down, you'll see that they're practically brown all the way down. And then right down here at the bottom, this is the new growth for next year. So we need to leave this new growth in, but we need to take any of the brown stems out. Now, here we've got a brown stem here. You can hopefully, let me just move that little bit of bramble, we don't want that. Hopefully you can see maybe that there's, this is one that I cut off a couple of years ago, and there are quite a few of them. And down here is a lot of the plant. They really do become established really quite well after a few years. So all you need to do is to get a nice sharp pair of secateurs and just cut off the brown stem about an inch above the ground. That's all you need to do. Okay, this is quite a thin stem, so that comes off quite easily. If you do find that some of the stems, like some of the ones I've got over here, are really quite thick, you might have to get a hacksaw to it. So I'll take all of the rest off and then I'll show you when I'm done. Right, so here are the ones that I've taken off. You can see that some of the flowers are absolutely huge, and some of the stems are really thick as well. If you do also find any of the brown leaves, then again remove those. And all I need to do now is to get rid of any weeds that are around, because once you've cleared the bed or cleared the brown stems, then you can get in. It's the perfect opportunity to get in and have a quick weed. Right, and here I've got some red veined sorrel. I've got some here, and a bit over there. It's sort of dotted all over the place. And as you can see, this has gone to seed as well. Now, if you've got this in a space and you don't mind it seeding, because it'll try and take over. So just let it go to seed, and when all the bits are brown, then all you need to do is to cut these long stems off. You can see down here that there is new growth growing, and again, this will most of the time it does keep going throughout the winter, unless of course it's really, really cold. So all you need to do is to cut down at ground level all the bits that have grown up and are going to seed. And then there's that one all ready for next year. If you want to, you can shake some of the seeds around and some of them will seed themselves, and then you'll have it growing all over the place. If you are limited on space, then I would suggest that you remove these stalks that are going to seed as quickly as you can. Right, well, there's the bed that the Globe Artichokes and the Red Veined Sorrel are in. It's all clear now and all ready for the winter. This big plant over here is my horseradish. I got the little plant in a 3-inch pot about 5 years ago, maybe, from Victoriana, and it's just blossomed like that. So what I'll do is when the leaves die down and I can actually see the base of it, I will get a fork in there and I will take a little section out. It is very difficult to take out, and again, it's a perennial and it just comes back year after year after year, and as you can see, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you are growing horseradish, just make sure that you give it plenty of room. You don't have to remove the entire root at the end of the season, you just take what you need. Okay, but hopefully I'll be able to show you that. I did take some last year. You just take a little bit at a time, and then you just grate it and mix it with a little bit of mayonnaise and have it on your roast beef. It is incredibly hot, but it's really, really nice. Right, I just thought I'd show you how the pumpkins and the squashes are getting on. Now, here are some pumpkins in here. I've just got 2 plants in this bed, and I've got some what I would class as medium-sized pumpkins, but let me show you how to encourage your pumpkin to get a little bit bigger. Well, let's just look at this one here. I planted it, that's the end up there, and you can see it's all trailing up here, and all the leaves this side between the root and where the pumpkin is are actually all brown. And then we've got the pumpkin, and then we've got a little bit more here. But you can see here that all the leaves are green, which means that the plant is still putting a load of energy into keeping these leaves green for a bit longer and possibly growing another pumpkin. But what I would suggest you do is make sure you do it the right way round, otherwise you'll end up cutting it off right from its source. Start from where it was planted, work your way up, find out where it's attached, and then about 3 or 4 inches from the point where the pumpkin is attached, cut the end off like this. Okay, now you don't need this. The plant is just wasting a load of energy making more leaves and encouraging the plant to grow a bit longer. What you want to do now is you want to stop the pumpkin producing any more leaves and wasting a load of energy, and you want it to put all of its energy now into making the pumpkin bigger. So that's just a little thing. You can do that when your pumpkin gets to about the size of a grapefruit, but just make sure that it's established before you do that. So I'll do that with the other ones, and then I'll show you the squashes. Now, in this bed here, I've got a variety of butternut squash and some very small pumpkins. Most of them you can see are green at the moment. The leaves are green. Some of the butternut squash have started to turn and go that sort of lovely yellowy colour, and others are still green. So let me just show you those. Now, none of my butternut squash this year are as humongous as last year. I'm not quite sure why. I didn't actually feed them with quite as much seaweed fertiliser as I usually do. But if we look at those ones, I hope you can see those ones okay. These are both butternut squash. This one is green, and this one is sort of the light browny colour. Now, you can eat them whatever size. If they're green like this, they are ripe, and it just means that the skin is a bit thinner, and you can actually eat the skin when they're green like this. When they're this colour, the sort of the light browny, dark yellowy colour, the skin is then too thick to harvest. So you have to peel it off. So that's just the difference of them. In fact, with them being this size, they're about One, about 4 or 5 inches long. You could actually roast these whole and they would be really, really nice. As you can see, the leaves are still green. They are turning ever so slightly, but they're not ready yet, so I'm actually going to leave all of these on. But I did come across a couple of plants that had gone brown. All the leaves had gone brown, all the stems had gone brown, and so I harvested those ones. So let me show you those. Right, well, these are just a few that I've harvested today. As I say, all the other stems and plants are still green, so I'm leaving them on, but these ones were on stems and plants that had gone brown. So once the whole plant has gone brown, then whatever is on there won't grow anymore, so you might as well harvest it. So there's a little butternut squash. These are a couple of small white pumpkins, and this, I believe, is a spaghetti. Inside you can eat the strands, and you have to you can either roast this or you can boil it, and inside, when you cut it in half, it's all very strandy and it looks like very, very thin spaghetti. So that'll be interesting. When I do cook that one, I'll put a photo on so that you can see. Right, well, that's it for today. I've done lots of weeding. I've weeded 1, 2, 3, 4, sort of about 5 or 6 beds. They weren't particularly weedy, but I've gradually worked my way through. This plot here, which is plot 2, is fine, is what I would class as up to date. I've just got to gradually work my way through plot 1. I've done several of the beds, so it's not like I'm starting from scratch. But the beans have finished. They're ready to come up. So when I get to that bed, then I'll take them up. I'm just gonna systematically work through. But I've been up here for about 3 hours now, and it is incredibly hot, and I really need to go home. Well, I hope you found what I've shown you useful, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.